Watch me ride.
Hello, this isn't a mess, okay? This is organised chaos. I was trying to basically work out all the garage door, all the different bits I had to see if I had the right parts that I'd need to make this tank idea. And I'll get to that in a minute, but the first thing I need to do is I had this letter arrive, and I forgot to open it on camera, to be honest. I just saw it, I was like, oh, what's that? I opened it, and I was like, ah, I should have opened this on camera. So, I will. This came to the P.O. box. I have just had a sudden thought that the P.O. box is probably going to, it's going to need renewing in the next month or two, I imagine. Something like that. And it's expensive. It's 170 quid, and I'm not sure if I can justify keeping it open again, because that's, you know, 340 something pounds a year just to have people send me stuff. And I don't even get that much stuff sent to me anymore anyway, so yeah, I'm probably going to have to cancel that one, which kind of feels like everything's shutting down, and that's not the direction I want to go with. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, on to more positive things. Spicy, I made you a small gift to say thank you for spotlighting in your video. Oh, it's Jiggy Moto. I gave him a shout out in my videos. That's another thing to mention. Subscriber spotlight. You might notice there hasn't been one in the past couple of videos. That's because I've run out of videos to use. People have stopped. I only got like 10 sent to me. Well, maybe 15 or 20 sent to me. Half of those didn't even comply with the rules. The ones that did have been used, and now that's that. But then maybe that's to show there's so few people doing it these days. Anyway, Jiggy Moto, what have you sent me? Here is... oh, it's coming out of focus because it's the wrong camera. Jiggy Moto. He has sent me... oh, these are vinyl stickers, but are they just the outlines? Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. What do with those? Oh, wow. They do kind of look quite good on Derek, even though I removed all his stickers, but they're quite simple. But then, do I want to publicise who I am? Thank you, Jiggy. That was very kind of you to send me those. I will use them. I'm not quite sure where yet, but they're pretty cool. I like them. People go and check out Jiggy Moto's channel. I'll put another link in the description because, you know, it was just very kind of him. Anyway, the reason this is all out like this is because if you remember back a few videos, I was talking about possibly making a tank. And I have been doing lots of sort of research into this and working out how I do it, because you can't just make anything out of anything. Really, it needs to have some of the form in it and the size and the scale and that sort of stuff. Well, anyway, I was planning to use chains, this size chain, 530 size chain, as tank tracks, which obviously is a cool idea. But that requires you to use the right size sprocket if you want to use sprockets. So that is how big of a sprocket you'd need to put these on. Now obviously if you think about a tank, that width to that diameter is way off. It's normally very small and very wide, not very tall, and this won't work. So it's like, okay, something more like this, but it means because they'll just fit on the insides of the chains, see that's more like the scale we need, well, obviously they're not going to turn. Obviously everyone's going to say, oh, you should make the tracks turn, without realising that that is a huge problem, because it completely ruins the point of using the chains, because it's not the right scale, so it'll look wrong. So they have to be fixed tracks. So problem one, what am I going to use? Well, these work out, and I've got I've got two of these, and I can chop them in half, and it gives me four main corners of the tank. You know, the first two. I don't know what I'd use in between. Now, if you remember, I made this as a sort of representation of it and realised, no, that's too big, because, yeah, that kind of works, well, it's actually still too small to use something that big, so you can imagine, yeah, pretty huge. So I rescaled and I made this one, and then realised, no, that overhang makes this too narrow, so I rebuilt it, and basically, this is the sort of tank shape I'm thinking of. Now, what would then happen is you'd have these, well, half of this on the side, and as you can see, one of those either side. It's more close to what a tank size would be, so it fits in better. Then I could like weld over another plate with some side skirts to represent the side armour and stuff like that. But you'll notice it's a very simple shape. This is because of this sort of logistics of it. I'm like, do I really want to go down this road? To make this out of sheet steel is not particularly difficult. You know, it's just a bit of cutting and welding. It's all straight sides. if I was to make the top, for instance, more with more facets on it, it starts getting a lot more complicated. Yeah, I know there's probably some software out there I can use to help me, like, you know, make printouts and do that. But then there's a load more welding, and remember that it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and now you're down to the levels of you really want to be using a TIG welder to do that, not a MIG welder, and thus, yeah. But this sort of shape, that is doable. These on here are about the right size with the tracks. You see, that scales, when it's got the tracks and everything on it, about right for a mobile artillery gun rather than a tank as such. But, yeah, I don't know. It will take an awful lot of time. I really kind of want to do it, but at the same time, yeah. And there's been a couple of people out there who've really, well, one person who's really wants me to make this and has supported me quite strongly, and I feel terrible if I don't make it now. So I kind of feel like I have some pressure on me to make it, and I kind of want to myself, but it won't be. I know I could make it way more complicated, way more, you know, detailed and stuff. But the time to do that, it takes the time and the costs and everything way out of the realm of what I could actually charge to sell this thing. Which is kind of almost what happened with the Dragonfly. Almost. But yeah. What I do know though is I've found, going through all these, I've found a few different things, that clocks and things I can make, a bit like my R1 gearbox clocks and some other stuff. So I can produce some more different things. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why this has got tape on it, it is not because I discovered that this has a hole in one end of it, which is just the right size to take a roller bearing. And it's definitely not because I then discovered that if you take the airline and shove it in the back end of it, that well, now where did that go? It's here somewhere. We'll find it. I have another one. You see, I did have 3, but I thought, oh, I'll fire this down the driveway and see how far it goes. Yeah, I can't find it. It went a long way. Fire! Of course, then you can really increase the mass but reduce the velocity. Now comes the question, can I get through 2 layers of cardboard? I'm thinking not. No, it didn't even go through 1. Yeah! And now you're saying, Spicy, you've got to build the tank and you've got to build this into it. I'm not sure that's legal. Oh, it might be, I don't know, it probably is legal to be fair. Oh, look at this. Somewhere between the 2. Fire! What else fits? I have a ball bearing. Oh, it's meant to be. No. This is far more important. This is far more important than the tank now. Fire! What was that? It's because it didn't have any resistance to build up the pressure. This screw almost fits. I know. Will you fit? Oh, it fits now. Let's try ramming that in slightly. Oh God. Oh, it's got... Right, it's gone all the way to the bottom, so this has got a lot more barrel to accelerate in now. I am genuinely going to go to the further side of the garage and see if I can hit this. I'm about 8, maybe 10 feet away. Aim, fire! Aim, fire! Aim. Fire. I missed. I compensated for drop. There was no drop. So aim directly at it. Did that turn round in mid-air and stick in it? I know I could build a little pressure chamber, you know, and then you just have an open valve, and you... Thing is, you could actually, with a decent sized, you know, one of these and a bit of compressed air behind it, you're going to be breaking the UK laws on air guns. Anyway, getting into that, span round and shot in it in mid-air. Let's try that again. I'm sorry, the Metalworks has now descended into childish playing with shooting stuff, pew pew, but, oh, come on, it's fun. Aim. Bah! Jesus! I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, find a potato, for Christ's sake, find a potato. But I don't have anything to really cut the... Don't worry, I'm not wasting food. This thing is horrible. I can clean it, it's fine. Oh God. Incoming! Let's shoot the potato with the metal thing. Yeah. It's stuck in it. Oh, I'm such a child. Say hello to my little potato. Okay, I'm again about 8 feet away. I'm aiming for potato. Fire! It was a miss. If it fits, it shoots. Maybe we just launch the whole potato. Potato! It exploded! I'm covered in potato now. It's everywhere. I'm covered in potato. I just found an Allen-headed bolt that fits perfectly. This might be a little lethal. I do have another one of these. You see, it's the same thing. The reason, by the way, it's got tape on it is because there's a couple of air holes for what, oil channels. Not air holes, but they let air out. Oh, one last thing. While doing the engine taking apart video, I'm sure a lot of you were going, oh my god, you so need to get a flywheel holding tool, etc, etc, because I didn't have one. I now have some, because it's also good for doing counter shaft sprockets, front sprockets on bikes basically. So imagine this is your front sprocket and you've got your counter shaft nut on there. You try and undo this, you're just going to turn the whole thing, and if you can't put it in gear because you'll start damaging the engine. You can't use the brake necessarily because it may not have enough power. There's all sorts of reasons you don't want to do it that way. What you're supposed to do is use a tool like this, which allows you to put the pins either side and then clamp, and then that gives you an ability to hold the front sprocket as you undo it. These are only about a tenner. They're not the best made things in the world, but they'll do the job. Right, okay, so I was trying to film a very quick update about this possible tank. If I build it, it's going to be very simplistic like this. Do you think I should still do it, or do you think, this thing, if I'm going to build something, normally it's like I want to build it to the best of my abilities, and I know what I could make, but it would take me, I mean, it could take weeks if I really went to every single level that I wanted to. And then in the end of the day, it was still, I think keeping it simple and cheaper would be better. So, do you like the sort of the square Bob's Army look? I can still add more details on, you know, that's just the general shape. But I'm going to stop waffling on now because we spent far too much time playing with potato. Bye-bye. This channel is made possible by the support of the audience. Please check out the links in the description and all the different ways you can help support the channel. Any help is greatly appreciated.